Hey there. Welcome to video 3 of video 8 in our series about falling in love with sales. Today's video is about listening beyond words for connection and understanding. As you know, I'm a big fan of Mavis Karn and she teaches deep listening. So this is where a lot of the content of this video is going to come from. For me, I used to be a terrible listener in sales conversations. I was trying to listen for like I was trying to listen for a way in. I was trying to listen for problems, and then I would talk about their problems, like, "Oh, I can help you solve that." Or I was trying to listen for um, maybe things I could find in common with them to try and build rapport. Like, oh, if I could just listen for enough things, like, oh, you like basketball, I like basketball too. Like, did you see that game? Like, I was listening for things, but I wasn't really listening to them. I was almost like I was trying to listen to impress them, to show them how good I was listening and how I could remember all the facts that we're talking about. Turns out it's not super helpful for really creating genuine trust because when people listen to me that way, I often feel like I'm being emotionally manipulated or someone's trying really hard to be my friend and I don't want to be their friend. So what do you do? For me, as Mavis would call it, deep listening is simply listening with nothing on your mind, completely blank slate, and showing up and responding to what shows up. When you listen with nothing on your mind, it's almost like your soul starts to speak with their soul. Even though you're not saying anything, you create space for a soul to soul connection. Mavis would call it listening until you feel a golden cord between your heart and their heart, where you can just feel what's in their heart. And it turns out when you can start to feel what's in their heart, they feel seen, they feel understood, they feel heard. And for me, that's the beginning of creating an atmosphere of trust, of well-being, of genuine rapport, where you feel this, for lack of a better word, just friendliness of wanting, of being kind to one another. And in that space, you'll hear what they really want. You'll hear what they're really up against, and something will occur to you to say or to speak. And if the thing that can help them is the thing that you are really good at doing, it'll occur to you like, oh, I can help you with that. And it'll feel as genuine and as calm as that. And that's been my experience. So I'm going to hand this over to Win.
The last thing you said to me was the bit that I think really matters about when I am responding from place of calm with what comes up or a question. That's a really great one to follow because that's following this orb that you talked about, the orb of love, the connection that's there between human beings energetically before our thinking gets in the way. And might come back to that in a bit, but I want to rewind a bit with a little confession, first of all, because it's a confession. I'm going to lean closer to the microphone. Um, I used to train listening really badly. I used to train people in how to listen, and it would be the act of listening, exactly to what you said. It was listen for something, listen to it for a buying signal, because that's what salespeople need to do: listen to buying signals and then respond to them. Listen for things that you can hook onto. I don't see, thankfully, listening as an act anymore, a behavior it's a come from. It's a state of listening that to me exists from the moment I was born. And all of us, I think, it's that innate ability to listen without the contamination of our ideas and our metaphors and our compulsions or our insecure thinking, all of that set aside. And it goes back to the video two that we had about curiosity. And it's being curious and staying curious. And here's what I just noticed in listening to you now, Nikon. I feel them. Now, it doesn't mean if they're in a distressed state or a stress state or any other state that I'm joining them in. I join in with them in the same feeling, but I can feel I have true empathy, a sense of them. And yesterday morning, something struck me with a client that I really felt them, and I noticed that I hadn't felt a client in about a week. And I thought I'm going to let that one just slide. Then in my break between calls, I'll come back and think about it. And now it's 24 hours later. That to me is a signal I was listening better than in the previous week. I probably had things on my mind that I didn't even know I had. But it's noticing that ability to drop and have nothing on my mind. But if you really want something on your mind, then just understand them. That would be it. And the great thing is, understanding them is a passive mind, not an active mind. Because if I'm active, I'm figuring it out. I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about what they're saying as opposed to listening. And if it's something I don't understand, it might occur to me to share and ask, quiz. The bit I know I've shared with you in the past, Nico, in the past few months, I knew not to listen to my insecure thinking when I'm with somebody, whoever the it is. Like, oh, how can I demonstrate value? There's so much more. How do I become credible? How will they trust me? How much can they pay me? And all that kind of stuff. And how do I demonstrate value? All of that self-talk, that's insecure thinking. I know not to pay attention to that. And I've known for a while, it'll still pop in. I'll still have random thoughts to pop in when I'm listening. But I didn't know that there was another category of thought I had that also comes from the same place, and it was compulsive thoughts. I better ask them this. I better talk about it. Same thing. It's still kind of like egoic. It's the higher excitement level compared to the insecure, scary thinking. But this is also something that can just go. It has the same energy, comes from the same place as the neediness of an insecure thought compared to a compulsive thought. And what you said at the end of what you just shared, Nikon, about the calm voice. And it's funny what questions can come from there. And it's funny what occurs to us there when we're listening. And we're listening from a place of the listening state of mind, which is letting the deeper mind take care of everything. So that's what comes to mind as I share with you today.